exported several characters from Daz Studio and then imported them into Unreal Engine. You can see how this was done in part 1. These characters have different body sizes, heights, and feet angles for their shoes. This character's feet imported incorrectly. You can open the character's skeletal mesh and go to the left view and hit Show, Bone, All Hierarchy. The green and blue lines indicate the angle of the bone. They are all straight except for the feet to the toes, where you can see the rotations are not at 0 values. This will cause an incorrect rotation to the bone from the animation. Here are the feet inside Daz Studio. The angle of the foot was achieved by applying the pose that came with the shoe. What this particular pose does is just sets the values of the foot to a bend of 43, and the toes get bent as well to a value of minus 48 or so. Now, when doing this, it actually is bending a transform, and these transforms will return to 0 when imported into Unreal. So to get the results like this, where the foot is on an angle but still treated as if it was at this percent or value from a default, what I did was in Daz, you can go to and select the root of the character and hit Edit, Figure, 0, 0 figure pose. This will put the character into a neutral position. There's a control for posing, which is located under the character, pose controls, and feet. You can do a search for left or for tip, which will show left and right foot tiptoes. Now this, you can set for this particular shoe a value of around 63, and then you can hit Control D to drop the floor. Now the foot is in the correct angle, and if you export at this stage, the FBX will take these translations and set them to the 0 at their current location. There's another way to achieve this if for either 1, you do not have these pose controls, or 2, the shoe just isn't correctly working, or there might be other reasons that you might have to do it another way. But this would be the easiest way to accomplish that foot angle without having to do too much extra. The other way would be to select the character and 0 back out the morph, and re-0 the figure pose just to get it back on the floor and everything. So now what you can do is export with the foot at this angle. By hitting File, Export, and then choosing where you would like to export it to, and hitting Save. Alright, the FBX was exported from Daz, and I reapplied the pose to the foot so we can get the bone angles of the foot, which is 42, the metatarsals, -7, the toes, negative 48, and the heel, negative 17. I wrote these values down in a notepad. And in 3D Studio Max, what we have is I imported that FBX, I renamed the shapes and the root, and when selecting the root, you'll see in the transform that there's a 90 degrees on the X, 0 on the Y, 0 on the Z. The X is 90 because Daz works in Y up, and 3D Studio Max is working in Z up. So when the file is imported into Max, it already automatically adds 90 degrees to the X angle of rotation. So to enter these values that we have here, we're going to set while the root selected, we're going to set that to 0, and then select, starting with the toes, we'll enter negative 48, metatarsals negative 7 and negative 17, the heels negative 17 on X, and the foot is 44 and 12 on Z. So now you can select the root and set that back to 90. And when you select the foot, you will see that we have some different values because the numbers we just entered, when we put it back to 90, basically the rotation of the X at 90 will influence some of the other bones. So for the foot, we've got 134 and negative 12. The heel, 117 and negative 12. The metatarsals, 128, which I like to round these numbers down. So we got 128 and negative 12, and then the toes, 80 and negative 12. So now we've got our forward rotations for the location of the foot. So what we want to do is get the opposite rotation, which can be achieved by, for the foot, you'll take 90 and minus the angle of 44, which is 46. For the heel, you'll take the 117 we got here, minus 90, and we get 27. Now 27 is the degrees of the angle. So you could get the negative result from two ways. You could take 90 minus 27, or you could just invert this to a negative number and add 90, which will give the same result, 63. Do the same for this, 128 minus 90 equals 38 degrees. Invert it, add 90, which is 52. Then the toe is 80 minus 90 equals negative 10, which will invert and add 90, which is 100. So now we have the opposite rotations for the X, and then the Y. All we had to do for that is just invert the number from negative 12 to positive 12 for these four angles. So now I would reload the Max file so that just everything's zeroed back out. We'll expand this skeleton. We'll put this off to the side for a second. So, okay, now the first thing you want to do is select the body, and under the Modify tab, the skin should be selected, and under the skin's advanced parameters, you want to deselect Always Deform. And then you also want to select the heel and do the same thing. Deselect Always Deform. Then switch to the Hierarchy tab and select Effect Pivot Only. Then, bringing this back out, we want to enter these values into the bones. So foot, (46) on X, and 12 on Y. Heel, 63, 12 on Y. Metatarsals, 52, 12 on Z. And the toes is 100, 12 on Z for all 5. Okay, so all the data we collected here is for the right foot. All you want to do to get the left foot is take this data, select the left foot, and enter (46) for the X, and then -12 for the Y. And that's because we're dealing with the left foot. So same thing with the heel. We'll put 63, -12. Tarsals, 52, -12 on Z. The toes are all 100 on X, and -12 on Z. Just double check. They should all be +12, 100. Okay, all the data is entered. We can move that out of the way, and you can turn off Effect Pivot Only. And then, if you zoom in, you can select Body and Modify, and turn back on Always Deform, and same with the heels, Always Deform. Now when you go through, starting with the foot, you want to change all these values back to 90 and 0 and 0. So now the foot is, or the feet are both at a bent angle, and all the bones are set to a 0 position. Alright, we're back in Unreal Engine. So we'll open up Skeletal Mesh and we'll switch to Side View. And once again, you can see that all these bones are at a 0 value and the feet are at a different angle. Hit Re-import Mesh. Okay, now all the angles look like they're 0, besides some of these toes look like they're off a little bit, but that should be okay. Going back here, everything looks good. Hit play. There we have it. The angles are running properly with the animation, just like all the other feet. And that concludes the tutorial. Thank you for watching.